I couldn't do that. I needed to think of something else. The maitre d' stood behind a tall podium, peering down at a ledger in front of him. I didn't need to cut that. I didn't need to cut that. I didn't want to make a hole in that. Of all of the papers pinned to the board, one article stood out to me. It showed the beaming face of a rotund fisherman on the docks with a headline declaring he'd just broken the island's heaviest catch record. A fishing net had been stretched between two poles to dry, and then clearly forgotten about. What do you think of this?
I didn't know you were a captain, Mac.
Well, technically I'm not.
Well, you could have fooled me.
I didn't need to show him that. I thought I'd keep that to myself. What do you think of this manuscript? I think it's voodoo.
Is this what Moret's having you hunt down?
Does it have any meaning to you?
Well, I know some of those symbols, but the way they're put together, they don't make any sense to me. And I wager they don't make any sense to someone familiar with real voodoo either.
You're saying it's fake?
Why don't you find out when you put in the last ingredient? If that's what you're doing on this island, maybe I shouldn't be so worried after all.
I decided to leave Ned to his fishing. I had more important things to do than fish. I thought I'd keep that to myself. Nope. I didn't need to cut that. I didn't need to cut that. The jalopy door was locked. If the rum runners caught me breaking into their getaway car, I'd end up bundled up inside one of their barrels. Besides, from what I could see through the window, there was nothing worth taking. I needed to think of something else. I scanned the headstones for anything of note, but didn't know what I was searching for. Nope. Nope. The graveyard was dotted with headstones, some old, some young, some legible, some not. Nope. I couldn't do that. Nope. I couldn't do that. That wasn't going to work. That didn't work. I couldn't do that. That didn't work. Embedded into the stony hillside was a large, intricately carved crypt with a decorative geometric pattern on its stone doors. That didn't work. That didn't work. I could see the shadows of the rum runners moving around inside the church, but I didn't want to get too close in case they saw me, too. Wandering happily into the hideout of a pair of mobsters wasn't going to be a smart move. The barrels were far too heavy for me. I didn't need to do any mechanical work on the jalopy. I didn't need to cut that. That wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to work. I went to open the door into Belmore Manor, but the key was gone. I was sure I'd left it in the lock. I didn't need to cut that. Nope. From the outside, I couldn't spot any clues to the location of the Belmore treasure. The stark trunk of the tree didn't offer any possibility of climbing it. That didn't work. I couldn't do that. That didn't work. The sack had been ripped to shreds and the corn was all gone. Clearly, the creatures of the bayou had had their dinner tonight, and thankfully, it hadn't been me. There was nothing else I could do with the torn sack. I didn't need to cut that. That wasn't going to work. I didn't need to cut that. That wasn't going to work. There was nothing else I could do with the torn sack. There was nothing else of interest in the shack. I already had some gunpowder in the gree-gree. It was an aging water tower used to replenish the steam engine aboard the riverboat. While I was trapped on Devil's Rock, a map of the world wasn't going to be much use to me.